What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Common Sense, the podcast. Glad to have you guys here, and I'm actually kind of nervous about this one. I'm waiting for all of my golf buddies to start jumping in here because I'm sure they're going to be busting my balls a lot tonight because I had this great idea that I should get my good friend, who also happens to be my golf coach, to come on the podcast. So you guys, welcome my buddy, Nick Scheib. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Just got done looping. Or not looping, excuse me. That's an old job. Caddying. That's what I did before I started coaching. Came right up here and just chilling, shooting the shit, learning how all this is going to go down. I'm excited.
Yeah, so this will be fun, man. I think, you are the first, I can't say first golf professional because we've had one other PGA Pro on here. But yeah, you're the first coach.
Yeah.
/ caddy. So I'm super excited that we can dive into that. So why don't maybe we just start out with give everybody the 2-minute spiel about where you're from, where you grew up, yada, yada, yada.
So I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, originally. I was born in Southern California, but moved to Phoenix real quick when I was 1 or 2.
Okay.
But I wanted to go back to California. So I grew up in Phoenix, played college golf in Irvine, California at a real small school. They cut the team, thought I was done with golf. Transferred back to Arizona State, had way too much fun. But my last semester was all online classes. I was done with my major. My minor was film and media production, so all I had to do was watch movies online and answer questions.
That seems like a really tough schedule.
It was tough. So I played a whole bunch of golf, and I got good again. And I was like, well, this is fun. I forgot that I was really good at golf. And I had a buddy, my best friend, was graduating college, and he told me about this mini tour in Arizona. So I did that. Ended up playing in Europe. My brother worked for the airlines, transferred to Dallas, so I could fly to Dallas or to Europe easier. I came with him to Dallas, and that's how I got here, and basically that's it.
All right, so he's kind of really cutting that short for you guys. So, Nick's been a PGA Pro Tour. He caddies. He coaches at PSG, which is Pure Swing Golf, for any of you that don't know, in Dallas. I highly, highly recommend, if you are starting the game or you need to fix your game, or if you just want to get into golf, start there, especially if you're just starting out. Get all the good habits and learn shit the right way right out the gate. Don't come in with a bunch of bad habits that you have to spend thousands of dollars and hours trying to fix. That is my one piece of advice right out the gate. Yeah. But he's done everything from caddying. I mean, you played on a lot of different tours. You got to go out to I'm pretty sure you did the European feeder tour, the Latin American one, the Canadian one. Yep. Am I missing one?
The Mexico Pro Tour, the Canadian or the Chinese tour.
Wait, we can't say that anymore, Nick.
We're not China.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so I've played. I was thinking about it earlier today. I played about 8 countries in South America, 2 or 3 countries in Caribbean, Bahamas area, 8 countries in Europe, and 1 country in Asia. I've been blessed, so lucky to travel the world playing golf. It's a pretty crazy shit.
This is most guys' dream.
Yeah.
You either want to be a rock star or you want to be a badass golfer. That's 90% of men.
Yeah. It's what everyone retires to go do.
Yeah.
And they suck at it for the most part if they don't do it right. And I got to play golf every single day of my life, basically from the time I was 5 years old until, honestly, I started coaching.
Now you get to be tortured by all of us that suck and trying to fix us and make us feel good about ourselves.
I enjoy getting people better. I really do. But sometimes I have to step back and be like, these people cannot do what you can do physically because of the reps that I've done. It's okay. They're doing the right stuff. They're going the right way. It's just not going to happen as quickly as I would want it to happen for me. And that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, I can sum this up in one quote from my lesson this week. Man, your core really sucks, but you have a jacked upper body, and God, with your swing speed, if we could just fix your damn wrists, blah, 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 you would be pounding the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much how it goes.
For the most part.
So something like that. I mean, if they like you. I mean, I'm sure they just say that to everybody, like flat out tell you how bad you suck or that your core sucks, but you know, I mean, it's
we
cool.
tell people who can take it that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, that's a big part of it. I'll say that too, because I've taken lessons now from multiple different people, and no matter who has coached me at PSG, those have been my favorite experiences all around. Now, there's a couple other coaches I've taken some lessons from that I learned some really invaluable things that I think were really good, and I liked their tactic for that. But all around golf game, I think what Anthony is doing with you guys over there and how he's grown that. I mean, like, I started out with Anthony being my coach. I mean, God, this had to have been, I don't know, how long has PSG been around now?
2018?
2018,
sixth
so
or seventh year.
6th or 7th year.
Right now,
So yeah. And I think my first lesson was in 2019. Like, he was still building up the place. Like, you could rent it and have like a Top Golf hour, or like come and bring your clients, and like we'll cater it, and like you can just swing in the bays and have all the cool technology and stuff. Like, he was really still in the infancy of like building it out. But like, when I went and met with him, I was just like, all right, I can vibe with this guy. Like, I think that's a big thing too. Like, being able to converse with whoever your coach is up there, having a little bit of a rapport with them, and learning how both of you speak.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been one of the biggest things. Like, and I don't want to dive into that too much now. We'll get to that. But like, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to understand what you're saying and be able to freely express it. Like the verbiage, a lot of times I'll go through a lesson and I'll say the same exact thing to 3 different people, and it only sticks to one person.
Yeah.
So like, I got to figure out a way to say the same thing to those 2 other people in just a different word.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a huge thing that you got to be able to have from your coach, to kind of be on the same wavelength kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've been playing golf since you were like 5 years old. Can you share some like maybe of your early memories of what on the course, or what really drew you to the game at that age? Because I mean, like 5 years old, unless you just have like this dad that's Tiger Woods' dad or whatever, like driving you, like, I mean, you see it more nowadays, but like that's not as common to like for a 5-year-old to just really get into golf. It's becoming more, but
yeah, I mean, it was kind of, honestly, we talked a little bit earlier about me being a Broncos fan. It's kind of my best friend. I'm
sorry.
I know. We're coming. We're at least this way. We're not going this way anymore.
It's cool. My older brother is gonna love hearing this on here if he's actually listening, and I'm sure he'll chime in.
So when I was 5 years old, my parents were building a new house, and we were living in an apartment. 4 people: my older brother, my parents. Small apartment. I think it was maybe a 2-bedroom apartment. My parents were like, they need to get me the fuck out of the house. So they took me and my brother to this thing in Arizona. I don't think they're around anymore, called Fiddlesticks, which is an arcade, driving range, go-kart, bumper boats, putt-putt.
Batting cage,
all that stuff. And it was me, my brother, and one other kid getting a little group lesson. And the other kid, 5 years old, named Cameron, he was really good. His dad almost made it to the PGA Tour when he was a kid. So he had, almost, not Tiger Woods' dad, but his dad pushed him hard, and he got really, really good. My parents were like, just get out of the house. Yeah. But through our parents talking, they found out that we were going to be essentially next door neighbors in the new apartment, in the new house we were moving in. So like, that's how I got into golf. But the thing that like got me hooked, and I say this kind of jokingly, but the first time I ever tasted beer, I was 8 years old, standing on the tee box of the 16th hole at the Phoenix Open when Tiger Woods got the hole-in-one, and beer was just thrown everywhere. Everyone was going nuts, and it dripped down my face. And of course, it came into my mouth, but I shouldn't have said it that way. But
there's the clip.
Yeah, that's bad.
Mark it.
There you go. Sorry. But yeah, like that moment was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Like, I'm this close. Like, I think maybe we weren't this close because I was right there. I was 8. I went underneath everybody else and got up to the rope. I was probably from here to that door, 8, 10 feet. I was like hearing that noise and seeing him go crazy and everybody go crazy. I was like, this is amazing. And from then on, like I played other sports, but I beat my dad when I was 8 years old. And like, I was like, I might be pretty good. And then Torrey Pines with the PGA Tour is this week. I was 12 years old playing that golf course. I got to play. My mom had a friend and got us out there. It's really hard to get out there, even though it's a public golf course. And I played really well. I was like, I think I might actually be good
Playing
at this.
Torrey Pines at 12.
Yeah.
That is fucking crazy. I mean, in all honesty, like, so my buddy Miguel, who I'm hoping jumps on here sometime because I know he's one that's like dying to bust my balls about this, or would if he saw this. He's got a son that's like, dude, he's becoming a little stick.
Yeah.
And like, he's already coming after it pretty hardcore. And like, that is honestly like the one thing I wish every time I see his son. I'm like, I can't wait. I ask him every time, how was golf this week?
Yeah.
Did you get to play with dad? Like, did you get him on the par 3 again? So he got a par off the par 3 with them last time. And like, one of them parred and then the other buddy like bogeyed. So like, he like tied.
Starting to tie.
Like, he's starting down that road, and I'm like, I can't wait. And they're already like, because I've been so bad since I started taking lessons again and got all jacked up trying to fix my stuff.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all that. You've helped me on this quest to be more humble, I should say.
It's a process.
But
I say that word a lot.
So I knew I was going to take a big dive, and my friends are not any less relentless on me about that than I would be with them. Because I would be giving them the same heat if I was in their shoes. So I expect it. I know it's coming, but like, they were joking last time, like, I'm pretty sure my son could beat you. Like, well, we got to put you guys out there. I mean, I don't even know why I'm trying to play. And I'm like, oh, really? That's how it's going to go.
Friendly. Yeah, but it's the same like that with every skill level, though.
Yeah. So before I forget, because I am going to hit this real quick because everybody always asks what we're smoking, what we're drinking.
Yeah.
So we've got you over there smoking on the Foreign Affair. That's actually, I was smoking the smaller version earlier just because that's the small one I like to smoke pre-show. And then I have the Late Hours by Davidoff, the Winston Churchill, one of my favorite sticks. And then Biz, you got that. Who's got our boy Jamon's Genesis over there?
Yes, sir. I'm about to light it up now.
Which you guys have seen us smoke multiple times on here. And then as far as what we're drinking, I am drinking a Weller 107. They just got it, so I was the first crack. And I'm going to do some damage to this one, I think. And you are drinking Aviation Gin with ginger ale.
Yeah.
So that's what we're drinking. That's what we're smoking. And if you guys have questions on that, feel free to fire away. So what was transitioning from high school golf in Arizona to college golf in Southern California like? I mean, like, what were some of the, like, pivotal moments that really shaped your approach to the game during those years?
I mean, it was definitely different being in Orange County, California over Phoenix, Arizona, just weather and lifestyle. And that was huge. And when you go to school, we had to be at school 2 or 3 weeks, I can't remember exactly, before classes actually started, because we had to do kind of preseason seeding and figure out, how the game is going. And that was different because I went from being a high school kid who, I like to have fun. I obviously, when I was golfing, I did what I was supposed to do, but outside of golf, I like to have fun, and my parents would probably tell you I had too much fun. But I had the structure of, I have to go home. And then when I now I'm in college, and there's not anyone else there but athletes, because school doesn't start for 2 weeks. That I had to touch with right? I kind of let it. The first couple days was like, oh, I'm here to play college golf, right? I need to focus up a little bit. So that first week was kind of let's let loose, and then once we actually got into the golf, the structure of in high school, it was me and one other kid. We were really good on the golf team in high school, and we could kind of basically do whatever we wanted. But when I get to college golf, everyone's good. You can't have that mentality. So instead of me just kind of going out there and letting my talent do what it did to get me there, it was like, no, it's time to work. So it was a lot of smaller drills, a little bit more focus instead of just kind of going out and hitting a few putts here and there and be like, oh, my speed's good. It's like, no, I'm going to work on my 4 to 6 foots with 3 to 6 inches of break today, and having it that kind of dialed in as I was going, and being able to have in golf at any level, it doesn't matter. Playing with somebody better than you is the best thing you can ever do. And kind of being exposed to that for the first time in a while was huge for me, because it kind of gave me that kick in the ass that I needed to.
Well, yeah, I mean, your dream started at the Waste Management Tour, which is like the #1 tour that I really like, event that I want to go see, other than the Masters, because I haven't got to go to the Masters. But you ask most kids where it starts, and it's like, oh, the Masters. Yeah. I mean, like, that's just the green jacket. Like, or whatever. Maybe you're in the European kid and, you know,
it's the Open.
It's the Open or something. But not many people say, like, my first experience, like, I saw Tiger Woods hole in one, the par 3 at 16 at the Waste Management Tour. Like, and the Waste Management Tour is the biggest party of them all. Yeah. Like, it is a shit show. So it's like that's what sets the tone. It's like that's kind of hard to overcome. Like, exactly. That's what you see as greatness in your eyes, like that event, that atmosphere. Do you think that helped you at all though? Like, cause that is such a ruckus of an event.
Yeah, kind of, because it helped me realize that, like, golf at times, now in general, right, it's a lot more laid back and chill, but at times it can be like a, quote, real sport. And, like, you've got to be able to deal with outside interference. And whether that be a guy drunk falling over, or
you have the greatest story on this ever. I don't know that we want to do this already yet, but like, this is the over? No, the guy that when you were qualifying that you had to play with, the one that the article was written on.
Yeah, that was for the Bermuda Championship in Orlando. If you Google my name plus Golf Digest, you'll see an article about it. I had a guy for 9 holes. I think he shot 69 for the first 9 holes. On our second hole, he made a 15. He duck hooked 5 balls into the water, and before he duck hooked the 5th ball into the water, he goes, "No, I'm gonna leave." And me and the other guy in the group were like, "Thank fucking God," because we're trying to make it into this PGA Tour event. So he duck hooks one more, finally gets up there. He makes a 17 later on. But before he made that 17, he made probably the best birdie I've ever seen in my life by a hack. It was a 230-yard par 3 with about 25-mile-an-hour wind straight right to left. And he hits this piercing little buttercut with a driver to a foot. Taps it in, picks his ball up out of the hole, raises his hands exactly like Tiger did at the 2019 Masters when he won, and he goes, "That's my first birdie ever." Yeah, I got a bunch of weird shit like that.
Like, I mean, how does that even happen that you guys are trying to qualify? Like, I could see it if this is like a bullshit round that's a complete practice round for you guys. Yeah. That you're having fun and celebrities, rich people, whatever, you know, like gets an invitation and you get to play around. Like, I've done some of these events where you get to go, and usually they put on a little class for 30, 45 minutes beforehand. Mm-hmm. Then you play around, and then they sit up at a par 3, and you play against that pro as you come through the course. Yeah, like that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. But you guys actually competing, and you got to have somebody like that. Yeah, messing up your pace, your rhythm, your flow, your mindset, everything. Like, that is absolutely absurd to me that they let that happen. That, like, and that there's no, I mean, there should be at least a little pre-qualification, like, what's your handicap? And I mean, like, show us your actual, like, handicap. Like, even now, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that. I'd be embarrassed all day watching you guys just smoke shit. I mean, I know you want to play with people that are better than you, but with a event like that, that's a ton of pressure. And then you get out there and start having that happen. That's going to go south real fast. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I took his clubs off the back of the cart and said, you're not playing the back nine. Because, so, cart, pro event, you talk about pre-qualification. Technically, this tournament was the pre-qualifier. The way it works to get onto a PGA Tour event, if you have Korn Ferry Tour, which is essentially AAA, you can just play in any Monday qualifier you want. If you're on the PGA Tour and you have kind of shitty status, you get in there. If you don't have status, like at the time I was playing PGA Tour, Canada and Latin America stuff, but I didn't have status on Korn Ferry. That's the cutoff. So you do this pre-qualifier. Right now, when the Byron Nelson comes here in a couple months, you could technically play in the Byron Nelson pre-qualifier because all you have to do is click a button that says I'm a pro golfer, and they don't check handicaps. And that's why that guy got in, because that's how the sections, so the PGA of America is broken up into regional sections, and they host certifications, and they have, you go to a muni golf course that's run by a PGA of America guy. But the way they make a bunch of money every year is by hosting these pre-qualifiers for the PGA Tour Monday qualifier. So they don't give a shit if you go and click pro. They get your $250. They know you're not going to make it, and whoever they get paired up with, too bad. And that happened to me at that Bermuda. Something similar happened to me like that here in Dallas at the Byron Nelson. I played at a random muni golf course with some buddies. We got paired up with this older Asian guy, and he goes, after a few holes, he's like, oh, you're a pro. I like to play in the pre-qualifier and click pro, so maybe I can play with the next Scotty Scheffler. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, cool. I'm never going to see you again in my life. 3 months later, we got the Byron Nelson pre-qualifier. Supposed to be playing in threesomes. Tee off at, 10:38, because golf tee times are weird. 10:38 comes along. We haven't teed off yet. Nobody's teed off yet. Fog delay. They repair us all into foursomes. Well, our fourth guy was that Asian guy that I played with. And he goes, oh, hi, good to see you. And I'm like, oh, this guy, we get on the ninth hole. One of the guys in the group, it's at Firewheel Bridges. So it's a dogleg left par 5. If anybody knows the hole, you can see it. It's really narrow tee shot from the back tees. But there's a road right on the left. So I hit my drive kind of up the left center-ish. One guy hits it in the left bunker. The fourth guy in the group just duck hooks the crap out of it onto the street. Comes back, duck hooks it again. We get up there. The Asian guy that I met hits a ball out of a bunker, walks up, duffs it again, gets it on the green, picks up his golf ball after marking and realized this isn't my golf ball. It was the second ball that the guy who duck hooked it out of bounds hit. So the guy had to go back at a third ball. Then they both had to go back to the bunker, replay out the hole. He made like a 15 on that hole.
Dude, that is so wild that this is like PGA qualifying events. Like, I love this though, like in like the new Tiger Woods Rory thing. Have you been watching that on TV?
TGL?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is dope. Like, it's really cool to watch. And like, even on a simulator, you can watch these guys. Like, Tiger Woods, the one I saw a couple, like last week, like he hit the side of the green and went over it. And he's like, they're like, what did you hit, Tiger? And he's like, a wedge, but I'm old. I don't still have that in me. Like, I can't hit it that far if I tried with this club. And it's like seeing them do the things that make them human is kind of cool. Like, you're not just like watching them just hit like holes in one and, like do all these crazy things, like you get to like really see them do stuff that normal people do.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about it, because if you watch golf on TV Sunday afternoon, you turn the TV on, all they're showing you is the guy stuffing it and the guy winning.
Yeah.
When you watch TGL and it's only the 6 of those guys, you're going to see the shitty shots that they hit that they just don't show on TV.
Yeah.
Right? And so you get to see just how hard golf actually is.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, I'm only going to watch the guy that shoots 25 under because he's hot that week.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, was there a big difference playing in some of these other tours, like the Latin America, the Chinese, the European, the South American, all that? Where, like, culturally and playing in these events, like, did any of those events, like, change the way you looked at the game, or was it any, like, bit different, or was it just different experiences to different types of courses?
Really just different types of courses, different grasses, learning how, okay, well, I've got this situation, the grass grows this way. Like in Costa Rica, the grass is so thick, right? So if you're around the green, particularly what you talked about with my short game not being super good, never has.
His short game, like, gives me a little bit of, like, pleasure to watch him go over there and suffer a little.
It's not great, so I didn't play super well in Costa Rica because it's super thick, grainy grass. You got to be really precise, and then, you know, you come back up to Canada and it's just perfect bent. You can do, anybody can chip off it. So it really, being able to, you know, acclimate to the different grasses and the cultures. I mean, talking about culture, China's a trip. I walked down the street and I saw a 2-year-old kid take his pants down and piss down a storm drain in the middle of a market. And that's completely normal. So you see that and you're just like, oh, well, okay, that's strange. Why is nobody doing anything with this kid that's peeing in the middle of the street? And then you walk around the corner and you see a BMW pulled over on the side of the road and the mom's holding the kid by the leg and is taking a shit on the side of the road. Like, oh, that's normal here.
Okay.
So you get to learn, like, what's normal to you.
Cultural norms.
Yeah, is so different over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable with is not what those people over there.
Yeah.
You know, and golf-wise, I get to see how the different cultures, like I played with a lot of French and Austrian and German and English people, and how that they approach the game is a little bit different than I do as an American. You know, it honestly, the way that they play the game and the way that we play the game is within a certain degree kind of the cultural stereotypes that you have of the country. Like, the Germans are very precise there. Everything's super specific. I have to aim right here, and it's got to be right here, and it's got to be perfect. And you look at Americans, when I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more creative. You know, I know what my shot's going to do. I'm going to try to do all this, and kind of learning, okay, maybe I should take a little bit of that into my game, or maybe he should take a little bit of that into my game. You know,
yeah.
When you make friends over there, like I've got a couple, English mostly, because the French don't like to speak English, even though they know how to.
Yeah.
So most of my friends over there are English, so we would have conversations like that.
I got you. Yeah. Maybe reflecting back on your professional playing career, what are some of the most memorable tournaments or moments that stand out to you that weren't like the bad ones, like the getting paired with the crazy guys?
Most recently, it's been a while since I played a pro tournament, but the last time I played the Phoenix Open qualifier, home tournament, always wanted to make it in, never did because it's the hardest qualifier to make. Most tour events only have 4 spots get in through the Monday. Phoenix only has 2 because it's a smaller field, daylight, all that stuff.
Will you ever do it again?
I'd love to, but I'll never get the chance because
Okay.
the PGA Tour took it away.
All right.
The way that they're trying to make the top 10, 15 guys happy and make them more money, trying to compete with LIV, they're making tournaments smaller, less people. So this is the last year that there'll ever be a Monday qualifier for the Phoenix Open. And it's sold out. I can't go home and do it, which is a little unfortunate. But the last time I did get to play it, I got my first and only competition hole-in-one. And the rest of the day didn't go the way I wanted it to, but to know that the tournament where I got to see Tiger Woods make a hole-in-one, I got to make a hole-in-one in an attempt to get into that same event was
really it the same par 3?
No. So the qualifiers aren't held at the
okay. I was going
course.
to say, that would be really gnarly.
That would have been unreal. But I got to play that hole once, stuck at the 10 feet, didn't make the putt. So at least on that hole, Tiger's better than me.
That's fair. Tiger's better than everybody. Tiger's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So this transition into caddying, and I know you did this like not just like solely caddying, but also like throughout your career, there were times you caddying. I think you see this a lot where like people, you know, if you're not playing in this tournament and your buddy calls you and is like, hey, come caddy for me or whatever. But like, where did, after years of playing professional golf, like what really transpired that to help you transition into that caddy role and wanting to do that?
Wanting, I think, would be a stretch of a word. Kind of necessity.
Okay.
Pro golf is very expensive. So, like, if you're in the G League or you're in minor league baseball, you don't get paid anything, but your expenses are covered by the team or the league, right? When you're trying to make it in pro golf, it's all you. Everything's your pocket. Airfare, tournament entry fees, hotel, gas, rental car, all that stuff. And it costs to play in like a big time mini tour event where you actually have a chance to win a decent amount of money. It costs you $1,500 just to get into the tournament. Where if you don't make the cut, you don't get a penny back. So you've got $1,500 entry fee, you've got $100 a night hotel, you've got to drive there, fly there, whatever that is. And I ran out of money. I had some help a little bit here and there along the way. A lot of guys like to be the guy that helps. I was a member at Brookhaven, a couple guys there. You know, hey, I'm not going to straight up give you this money, but hey, I'm going to pay for this entry or whatever it may be. And when I played my last year in Europe, I didn't play well. I didn't have a good season. I lost my card, and nobody wanted to help me out anymore. And I was practicing at Brookhaven, and I ran into this guy who was about to be the caddy master at Merido, which is a new club opening up where Liv played last year, their team championship, and they'll have a tournament here this summer in June. I was like, yeah, you can come caddy. Do you know how to be a caddy? I'm like, I don't know how to be a caddy, but I've had a caddy before, so I can probably figure it out pretty quickly. And went over there, did the training, and started doing that. And I like it a lot. It's fun because it's my way of kind of helping people play better golf without having to coach them up golf swing wise, because you can attest how hard it is to change a golf swing. And we were talking before about where am I supposed to aim? What kind of shot am I supposed to hit? I have all that knowledge from years of high-level junior golf, college golf, pro golf, where I can really quickly see a situation, maybe watch the guy hit 4 or 5 shots in the first couple holes and be like, okay, this is how this guy plays his golf ball. He needs to aim here. And then when I tell him to do that and he pulls it off and he sticks it close, and it's like, holy shit, you're...
For the record, last time him and I did this, I think I did that once. It was a rough day. That one time felt really damn good.
We just needed to put that kid behind the flagstick.
No shit, dude. I remember, Biz, you won't believe this. There's this kid that like kept just running all over the course, right? I say kid, like young 20s guy.
Yeah.
Like, and everywhere this cat went, I hit a ball like right at him. Like, couldn't even be aiming at him, and somehow right at him. And then this one time, this kid's like walking off, and like he's behind the pin and far enough behind it that like I'm willing to take this shot, right? And as he's crossed the flagstick, I lace one right at the pin. And I'm like, And the kid's like, whoa, nice shot, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, can you like just stand by the pin every time? Because like I've like gotten you over here on the right, I got you over here on the left. Like now you stand behind the pin and I put one within like 3 feet of the hole. Like this is money. Yeah. Needed some of that. So do you, I mean, I know it would be like really out of order, but do you almost wish you could have had some caddying experience before going to the tour? Or have you learned, you know, are the things you've learned from caddying that have really helped you, that have changed your experience and like helped you with those insights or, you know, the course management and player psychology from a caddy standpoint that you think you would have liked to have had while you were on tour? Or is it more just like now that you know these things, it helps you in your journey now as you're a coach and all of that?
I mean, I think that it helps whenever, right? If you want to have a career in golf, being a caddy is a great way to learn the game and learn how to interact with people, because you can make decent money caddying, but you're caddying for very well-off people who are successful in what they do, and you can learn how to talk to people. But yeah, I absolutely kind of wish I caddied in high school before I started playing college golf and pro golf, and kind of have that background where I can, instead of just being a, you know, kind of a cocky little shit in high school thinking I can pull anything off, where I can have these guys where I have to coach them through and think about golf shots a little bit more. Yeah, I would have loved to have that before I started playing. Right? I think if you're a high-level junior, particularly in the Dallas area with a lot of really nice clubs where you can caddy, get out there and do it. Because one, you get to play that super nice golf course once a week.
He's going to get me out at Merido one of these days.
I'm not. Mark Welgus, I didn't say that. Don't fire me. Not on a Tuesday, at least.
Someday, one of my goals, I'm going to play Merido.
I'll bring you out there with a member, but I'm not bringing you out there on caddy play. Maybe I can pull that off.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if I got to like kiss ass to Anthony and get Anthony to get me out there. One way
Anthony
or another.
can probably get you out
I
there.
want to play Merido. One of these days. Like
I've been at Merido since day one.
I want to play Merido and Castle Hills. I still haven't played Castle Hills.
Castle Hills is great. Anthony's a member. We can go play there tomorrow if you want.
You heard that, Anthony.
I mean, I'm caddying tomorrow. I have an 11:30 report time to caddy, so you can go play with Anthony tomorrow. But I've got to go caddy tomorrow.
Well, we're going to have to fix some things before I'm going to go play with Anthony and just get my ass killed all day.
I mean...
And have to listen to him coach me all day long. Like, oh, bro, what are you doing with your life? Like, Anthony has, like, some of the greatest one-liners ever. Like, that's the one thing, like, I really remember from there. Like, he would, like, throw out these, like, jabs while we're, like, doing stuff. And I'm like, did you really just say that?
Yeah,
the most random
shit you've ever.
He's like, yeah, bro. Like, did it sink in? Because, like, and I'm like, who says that to somebody? And it's like the most random thing in the world. But, like, it does. Like, he has a very unique way of, like, making it real to you, whatever that means to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, what?
That's it. It makes sense, but that still doesn't make sense at the same time, kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Whereas really, I mean, I remember the first few lessons, especially, like, you were trying to be, like, really straight and narrow on the book and, like, hey, we got to do this. And then after a while, I'm like, hey, man, like, just tell me something different. Like, say it another way. And I really think that, like, developing that kind of rapport with your coach, like, or who you're taking instructions from, like, really helps, because, like, I know that's where I make the most progress. Like, you'll say something to me like, hold the pizza box or something. I'm like, all right, that don't fucking work. Yeah. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, or you'll say, what are you feeling when you do this? Or try and do this. What does that look like for you to try and make this happen? And I'll do what it does, and I'll say, oh, wait, I want another shot at that. Because like, I think I know what I need to tell my brain or my body, whatever. Let me do it again. And you're like, okay, what if I told you to do this? And it's like the complete opposite. Because like, that's one of the big things in golf. Everything you think you should do to make a ball go this way or that way, it's opposite. Like, you want to swing out to like get the ball going this way. Or you swing in, getting it going this way. Like all these different things. Like golf is like the most ass backwards sport in the world. So I mean, like I know what the pure swing golf philosophy is and stuff, and like how you guys approach coaching, but you guys emphasize improving your game and all these little things you do. But can you maybe describe your philosophy and the methods that you find to be most effective as a coach?
I think for most people to get...
Well, if they didn't have that baby-ass mic stand over there that keeps rocking and rolling, in case any of y'all didn't notice that, like Biz strategically kept that out of the picture. But I am going to call him out just because I said I would. But sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good. You couldn't hear me, so I needed to move this thing closer. I think for most people, what I've got to get them convinced of is that what they think they're doing, like feel isn't real, all that. That's like a huge golf thing. I like to say that the body is smarter than the brain. Your brain can think something, so your brain will go, oh, I need to do this. And your body's going to be like, that's not what I'm supposed to fucking do. So your body's going to try to figure it out. If your brain is telling you to do one thing, the body's going to be like, okay, well, the only way I can even make contact is to do this crazy shit. So I like...
Poster child.
Yeah. If I can kind of really convince people that, hey, watching YouTube videos and pro golfers on TV, you're not doing what you think they're doing, and what you think they're doing is not what they're actually doing. So my biggest thing when I'm trying to get a player better is to convince them or convey to them that, one, you're trying too hard to hit the golf ball. Like, I think Jake Knapp, now I don't know him super well, but I got to play a tournament with him up in Canada. If you look at Jake Knapp's swing, it looks so effortless. It looks like he's not even trying, and he's 128 mile an hour or something like that driver swing speed. And it's like, does that guy look like he's trying? I'll bring up his video. I'm like, does that guy look like he's trying to hit the shit out of it? And I'm like, no, it looks like he's just kind of whipping at it. I'm like, then why do you look like you're trying to tense everything up and hit it as hard as you can? Like, you need to have some flow and relax a little bit more than you think. And I believe that most people they try too hard to hit the golf ball
It's
good.
that opposite thing, man. Like, if I swing harder, it will go further. Versus, like, you know, and it's all those old adages that, like, drive you kind of crazy, too. Like, you know, let the club do the work. Well, like, if you put the club in the position to let it do the work, then, yeah, that works great. But you found that you couldn't do that on the average daily, so then you start trying to like hit it harder, do this or lift it up, and then you get the weird left arm chicken wing or whatever dumb shit I do now. Yeah, like it really does make sense though. Like, and that's where I think technology has made the most improvements, and that is why I think, aside from the people like you and Anthony and all the other awesome coaches up there, I think that's what's made the difference for me. Like I said, I've taken something from like all the people I've had golf lessons with. You know, for a long time, I took lessons up at WinStar. Prior to Pure Swing,
you went all the way up there,
dude. Yeah, well, back then I lived like it was only a 35-minute drive for me from my house from there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So it wasn't far. But WinStar, you're talking Indian casino money. They have one of the most state-of-the-art facilities up there, like you can imagine, for, coaching and getting fitted and all this other stuff. I mean, like, they have a big-ass version of PSG. Like,
yeah.
Whether you want to laser fitted with your putter or, the bays, the TrackMans, all that stuff. I mean, they've got it.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of got to know somebody to, like, get set up or be willing to pay their price. But, that was a cool thing. But I think the technology aspect of it alone, it's where it's like, you guys have seen Andrew Frakes on here. Andrew Frakes was a PGA Pro. He was a long drive champion. Andrew's helped me with my golf game a lot. But I only get Andrew's feedback when I take a lesson with Andrew. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, up there, you guys kind of collaborate. Like, first of all, you have state-of-the-art technology. So, like, you guys have cameras on every angle. You can tell, like, what degree the wrist is I mean, like, everything. Like, it's insane the amount of information it gives you. Mm-hmm. But that's also cool. And you guys are able to draw lines and really break things down and explain it. Mm-hmm. And then when it gets to that scenario of, this is what I think I'm doing, and then you can go, nope, look, I just told you to do what you thought would make you do this.
Yeah.
This is what you did.
Yeah.
This is what you would have to do that. And then you can start breaking it down. I don't think if you don't have that video feedback, the process has to be a million times slower.
100%.
So I think technology's changed that game a lot. So can you maybe talk about that a little bit, that like in the digital age today, how you guys are incorporating the technology and the data analytics of that into your coaching and player performance? Can you
yeah, absolutely,
kind of break into that a little bit? I mean, I know I just kind of gave like a loose synopsis of it.
Yeah,
but
I think one of the biggest things that we have that I played, like I've said, golf my entire life. College golf, pro golf, all this stuff. I never stepped foot on one of these things until I started coaching at Pure Swing. We have this pressure plate that you step on, that blue carpet that you stand on every single time you go in there. That tells me where your weight is laterally and how it is vertically, how much you're kind of pushing into the ground. And it wasn't something that I needed to really do personally, but I always had my weight in the right spot. Yeah,
because you'd already figured it out.
Because I had figured it out, trial and error, right? But if you go out on the golf course and if you're chunking the shit out of it or you're hitting thins, more likely than not, your weight is in the wrong spot. And most people have no idea where the weight's supposed to be in the golf swing. I can tell you, I watched a video of Payne Stewart, one of the best golfers, right?
Absolutely.
He was amazing. He won a couple majors, just an unbelievable character, unbelievable person for the game of golf. I watched the video and he goes, yeah, so I load up on the right side and then I push off. And that's kind of what was taught for golf for a long time before these pressure things were invented. And when they took guys, unfortunately not Payne Stewart, but guys like Tiger and PGA Tour players who thought that they were loading up on the right side and then pushing off, they realized that when they got to the top of the golf swing, they were at 50-50. They weren't even close to loading up on the right side and pushing off when they started their downswing. And so when I explain that to people and I say, you're at the top of your golf swing and you've got 22% of your weight on your left foot and tour average is 50, they go, oh shit. That's why I come over the top. Like, over the top's not a swing issue. It's a weight issue most of the time. So having that in my back pocket to say to a guy, hey man, just get your weight for it and watch how your path changes and watch how that ball flight changes. I know it's an easy way for me to kind of get somebody to buy in.
Why can't I just have one of those easy fixes?
Well, because you're good with your weight and your easy fix is the hard shit. The wrists is the hard shit.
It's true.
Right? And then we've also got like the Sportsbox AI, which is if anybody knows, kind of 10-ish, 15-ish years ago, maybe I'm dating myself, maybe I'm too old, maybe it was older than that, I can't remember, but this thing called a K-vest. You would put all these straps on you, you'd almost look like you were trying to be in Madden.
That's like that other golf school that like you feel like you're like an alien. Like they have this like cord that like plugs into your back and all these things, and like, dude, that is crazy.
Awesome information, but I can't swing a golf club with all that shit on. Sportsbox AI does all that with just the camera. Yeah. So I can tell you, hey man, you're not turning your chest enough. We're like, well, I feel like I'm turning my chest a whole bunch. I'm like, well, this thing told me you turned your chest 78 degrees. You're supposed to turn it 92. So I'm telling you, look, you're not. So I have that where I can go back to the body's smarter than the brain. Your brain thinks you're turning a bunch, but your body is only turning 78. And having all that stuff, and it's another way for me, like when you said, say that to me in a different way. I can go, hey, if I'm not saying it in the right way to make you understand it, I can point it here on the tech and be like, does this make sense to you? You're at 78. The numbers say 78.
Usually it turns into a gay joke, but we'll go with like, hey, look at the screen.
Yeah. Gay, gay. The thing with
you
golf,
already did the good mic drop earlier.
I did.
I'm totally clipping that and sending that to all the guys at PSG.
I hope you do, but because if you're gonna clip this and send it to PXG, then Dustin, Junior Pro, shouldn't have watched those videos when you went home. I'll just leave it at that. He'll know what
or throwing a fucking ball at a client. You know, that'd be another one too. We can talk to Anthony about that one.
Yeah.
So where do you think this is trending? Where do you think this is going? Is like we're making all these advances with AI and stuff, and you were talking to me about another app like we were talking about for like finding your direction and like where you're gonna aim and all that stuff, and you started breaking down like, well, this is why I told you over here there's this app, and like if you really understand it, but like you're not there yet to like have that conversation, you know, like and I don't mean that like that you were like taking a shot or anything, like, but like that's a big thing too, like all of that other dynamics of the game. Like golf is not an easy game.
No,
there's multiple parts to this. Like even once you have your swing figured out, can you line up and aim right? Can you putt? Do you have a short game? You know, you get your irons figured out. Well, guess what? Your driver still sucks. Yeah. You get your driver figured out. Guess what? Your irons start sucking again.
Yeah. And that's why we do the packages of lessons. We get calls all the time, be like, hey, can I come in and get a lesson? I'm like, well, yeah, if you want to spend $300 for one lesson, sure, I'll do that. But we do packages of 10, 20, 30, and 50 where you have to decide, okay, like a 10-pack essentially is I'm going to teach you a little bit of golf swing. A 20-pack is I'm going to teach you a little bit more golf swing, and we're going to throw in a little bit of short game, right? If you really, really, really want to get good at playing golf, in the greatest year of golf ever was Tiger from 2000 to 2001 when he won 4 straight majors or whatever, 2001, 2002, I can't remember. Tiger Woods spent 600 hours with his coach that year because he wasn't just working on golf swing. Yeah, he got his golf swing better. In 10 lessons, I can get your golf swing better, but you're probably not going to play a lot better golf. With this decade, what we talked about, decade golf, which I will not take credit for, it's Scott Fawcett. He's amazing. He's contentious to some people online, but I've met him. I played the Monday qualifier for the Korn Ferry Tour event here, and I've known him for a while. I think he's a good dude. I think he's super smart. He kind of falls into that category of he's super confident in what he's made and comes off the wrong way sometimes, and he'll admit that. But once we get your golf swing better and I teach you how to swing the golf club, well, then I got to teach you how to play golf. And there's a difference, unfortunately. Right? And that's where this decade, what you're talking about, I got to teach you where to aim, where you said, where am I supposed to tee it up on the tee box? that stuff is teaching you how to play golf. And that takes more than 10 lessons.
All right, Anthony, you're going to owe me some free golf lessons for this, but I'm going to break this down another way as a paying golf lesson taker of PSG. He is absolutely right. There are these amazing packages. And if you guys really go through this next year, go through the spring and summer and see your game and realize what you want to do with it. And then come Black Friday, take advantage of the lesson packages that PSG offers, because it's not ever any cheaper.
Yep.
Like, for instance, my wife bought me a package of 10 lessons for Christmas. That was my Christmas present. I knew that I only had a very limited time at this rate, and I knew that I was going to need more than 10 lessons to get to where I want to go right now after doing my last 20 lesson package that I did last year. So I called Anthony and said, hey, I know my wife got me this for Christmas. I want to buy 10 more. Can I have the 20 package price if I get it all done and do it here? He's like, absolutely. And, you know, like, we worked it all out, got on there. I added on to it, and I got my 20 lesson package. It's almost like there should be more of a description on this, and I think it might be a selling point too. Like, if you're already shooting in the 80s, let's just say you're shooting sub 90 and you just want to break that next little thing, like whatever your goal is, below 90.
Yeah.
And you just want to tweak something, go buy the 10 lesson package. They can tweak you on something within 10 lessons to help you shave those extra points off. Now, if you're making a slightly bigger change, better start with that 20. You're going to regret not paying the discounted price for the 20 and just getting the 10. And I know, again, and go look around. I don't care where you go. Golf lessons are not cheap. Like, nowhere. Especially when you have all of the state-of-the-art equipment to really give you all of the feedback, all of the tools. And it's like, we joke up there all the time because, like, he'll be giving me a lesson and, well, let's just say, I'm going to use Chad as an example. And Chad doesn't have anybody coming in for 30, 45 minutes. Well, he's bored. He's just going to come kind of sit in the background, and then you're going to be like, Chad, I just told him to do this. And it's fucking crazy. He did, like, it made him do this.
Yeah.
And then now you're getting, like, 2 coaches for 1, really. And I mean, and like my last lesson on the last package, you weren't able to do that lesson. I had 1 day before I went on my golf trip, and I was like, man, I am still, like, in a horrible place. Like, I got to be a little bit better with this. And you're like, well, Chad will fit you in. And I went and did Chad, and Chad got me all right. But again, even after 20 lessons, it wasn't enough to really fix and change these things. We identified all the, like, things that I need to fix, and we figured out a few things. You're like, okay, you're pretty good here. Like, we don't need to focus on this. Like, we're going to work on these things.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, even, like, and you getting feedback from Chad, like, hey, when you coach with him and, like, hey, let me pull up these videos. Let me look at this. What did you have him do differently? Like, what were you doing? Like, and you guys start going back and forth. Well, now you're getting the best of a lot of worlds.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like, I went and played one of the worst rounds of my yearly week-long Myrtle trip ever. It was brutal.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was, like, it would either start out slow, and then I'd have this period where I played really good. And then by the back 9, I was falling apart, because the minute you get a little alcohol in you or you get a little tired, your old habits are going to take over. And you can't change an old habit in 10, 20 lessons.
No.
You can't do it. Like, you can for a short period of time, but for it to stay, and, like, that's assuming you're also putting in other work between your lessons, going to the range, going out and playing. Like, this time of year, it's kind of tough, but, like, it's part of the process. Like, you have to do those things. So I am 100% in agreement there. Like, how much do you want your game to get better? And what do you really want to do? And have those realistic things. And that's the cool thing about PSG is, like, if you go talk to them, they're going to break this down and tell you, like, they're not going to come and tell you, like, I'm going to have you shooting in the 70s, buy these 10 lessons, and you're going to be golden. Yeah. I bet you could count on one hand how many people they've actually said that to. Anthony has in 7 years. I bet you it's a handful of guys that, like, I saw some of those guys, like, he's had some sticks in there too that, like, but he tweaks them and, like, they're playing crazy. Like, Byron, or what's his name? Jones. He used to be the, like, cornerback or safety for the Cowboys. He was up there, Dark Horse or Dark Knight.
Kinsler was in there today.
All these guys, like, I mean, like, you got, like, some, like, superior athletes that are coming in. And even they're they ain't fixing their golf swing in 10 lessons. I'm telling you that right now. Ian Kinsler, an amazing athlete. I guarantee you he has not fixed his golf game in 10 lessons.
No.
Nor can I can also probably bet money he did not just get the 10 lesson pack.
No.
I mean, he's probably been there a while. Like, and I get it. Like, you guys are going to say, like, oh, it's just the amount of money and blah, 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 blah. It really isn't. Like, if you really want to break your game down and do these things, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, even I mean, you've heard about my background in golf. I used to be really good. I don't really get to play a lot of golf. I get to practice my golf swing a lot. So, like, I don't know how good I am at playing golf anymore.
He's still really good. Y'all don't let him fool you.
But in that same thing, like, I can teach you golf swing and I can teach you playing golf. About 3 weeks ago, I was working on a specific move. It clicked. My golf swing looked so fucking good. I had, so we're basically open Monday through Thursday, 12 hours a day, essentially. Like, we're not there one person 12 hours a day, but the store is open. Mondays and Tuesdays are my late day. I'm there till 8:30. I had a 7 o'clock lesson on a Tuesday. My 7 to 7:45, we got done. I'm very friendly with this student. He likes to kind of hang out. So after the lesson, me and him and Shane, one of the other coaches, we played a little game because we have this simulator. We can play Augusta. We can play TPC, Spyglass, Pebble Beach, Sawgrass, wherever you want to play. So we play this little, not par 3 course, essentially. Like, not wedges, but, like, you play the whole bag. And my swing looked so fucking good. I swear to God, I looked at Shane and goes, I think I'm going to start playing tournaments again. It looked exactly how I wanted to. The ball flight was exactly what I wanted it to do. I couldn't have been happier. This was a Tuesday. Thursday, I had a playing lesson. I went out with that student. I couldn't hit the fucking golf ball. Nothing was doing what I wanted it to do. It didn't feel the same. I couldn't control it. I couldn't shape it.
In 1 week.
In 2 days.
2 days.
So I'm making a change that felt great. And then 2 days later, I lost it. And I've been doing this every day since I was 5 years old. So, like, you have to take that with a grain of salt, too. Like, I get to hit golf balls every single day. You get to hit golf balls when you come in for your lesson and maybe 1 or 2 times in between.
And I promise you, I take full advantage of my 45 minutes. You can ask him. Like, I am sweating. I mean, I smoke golf balls for 45 minutes straight.
Yep.
And, like, it's a lot, man. Like, and if you're really grinding and working on it, like, 45 minutes can feel like eternity.
And that's why we don't do hours.
And I go every week.
Yeah.
Like, and right now, like, it sucks because, like, I don't really get a lot of other time to go practice in between our lessons.
Yeah.
So it's lesson to lesson. You've got a week in between there, unless you're doing mirror work or, you know, whatever at your house. There ain't a lot you can do right now.
Yeah, it was with it being so cold. Right.
So we've kind of touched on this a little bit throughout this, like the mental aspect of the game and mental health and all that. So how do you approach that? And I know you and I haven't really done a lot of that. Like, we haven't got, like, I know how Anthony does a little bit because I did one of those with Anthony back in the day.
Yeah.
But how do you approach that with the coaching aspect of the mental health and the mental game of golf?
I wish I was better at it, to be completely honest with you. I saw a golf mental coach the last year of my full year of playing, and it was amazing. Without her, so my last year playing golf, so the way Q School works, it's 3 stages. If you make it to final stage, you're a member of the PGA Tour. You might not be on the PGA Tour, but you're on Korn Ferry, you get all these perks, you get everything. I made it through first stage. Second stage, I just didn't play good golf. I was good mentally, but I didn't play good golf. But what got me into second stage was the thought process that I had with this mental coach that I saw. She's out in Fort Worth. Honestly, I'm spacing out on her name. I feel bad about that, but she was.
Okay, we'll add it in the show notes.
She was great. We would sit down and talk about where I would kind of bitch about situations like happened in Bermuda, bitch about the Byron Nelson money. I was like, why does this shit keep happening to me? She goes, so what if it does, right? And then I would miss a Monday qualifier by 1, and she goes, do you know how good of golf you have to play to miss by 1? Or just because you barely miss this putt, that doesn't mean you hit a bad putt. Or you hit it to 30 feet, that doesn't mean you hit a bad shot. And it took me a really long time because, again, I fall into the same trap of watching golf on TV where the guy that wins hits it to 10 feet and makes every single putt. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's what I need to do. So when I don't make every single 10-footer, which is a less than 50-50 odds, I get upset. So talking to her, and what I try to relay to my students is golf's really fucking hard. Don't let a missed shot affect the next one, right? There's nothing we can do.
Let alone the whole round.
Let alone the whole round. There's absolutely nothing that we can do, right? That asshole cuts you off on the road, goes in front of you, drives away. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to chase him?
Yeah.
But are you going to let that situation ruin your whole fucking day? No, you're just going to be like, well, that guy's an asshole.
Well, 18-year-old me definitely would.
I had the guy this morning going into work. I'm in the right turn lane. Guy in the middle lane turns in front of me. I was turning, thankfully. If I was going straight, I would have ran right into him. 18-year-old me probably would have chased him down because I was driving a 66 Mustang. It was awesome. I didn't want him to fuck it up.
Damn.
Now in my kind of shitty Nissan Rogue Sport, hey, if he would have hit me, it wouldn't have been the end of the world.
From a 66 Mustang to a Nissan Rogue Sport.
Mini Tour Pro Golf's expensive, man.
Yeah, it is. Wait till you start having kids and shit, bro.
I'm getting married in a month.
Yeah.
And she decided to pull the goalie. She wants it bad. So I'm on my way there. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, with just not letting things that are done affect you. And it took me way too long in my career.
So what do you think's like, I want to follow up on that and dig a little deeper on that. So what's worked best for you that like, man, like I've done this all week long. Like I'm ready for this tournament or I'm ready for this round of golf with my friends. Like, I've been taking lessons with Nick this week, and I finally got my driver tuned up, and like, man, I'm blasting the ball. Oh man, my irons are sharp. Like, as long as I stay true to my short game, and like, you know, I take my time, really don't like rush putts and stuff like that. I'm like, I should be good. Like, this should be a good round. And then you get out there, and that first fucking hole or something, and you blow up, and you take, you know, triple bogey on your first hole. Like, what do you do, or how would you coach somebody on that to not let that affect their whole round? Like, how do you mentally prepare for that? Like, or you're having a good round and like all of a sudden you take a snowman on a par 3 and like you're at your wit's end. Like, what would your advice be on that?
So one of my favorite things to do is, because we're human, right? That's a shitty situation. We're gonna be pissed. you can't just bottle that shit down and be like, nope, it's okay. I'm not going to let that matter. And then it explodes 2 holes later. All right. So what I would do in a situation like that, I would tell myself, I have 30 seconds. I have 30 seconds to call myself everything under the sun. All the nasty shit I can think of. Everything in my head is like, you fucking suck. Why are you doing this? You're terrible at golf. This round was so expensive. You're wasting money. How the fuck can you hit a shot that bad when you've spent all this time practicing? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm done. Then that shit doesn't matter. So I released that. I didn't let it build up and keep going. And then I fall back on, okay, how many times, and with you like in a lesson, how many times did I get a 3-star video on my last lesson? Oh, I've kind of felt like I hit the ball like shit, but I got 3 or 4 3-star lessons or 3-star videos.
Is it bad that I don't know what you're talking about?
Oh, well, then you don't pay attention to the videos that I send you.
I only get like 1.
I get you after every lesson.
I've gotten like 1 email. I can tell you, I save every one of those things. Like, no, something's wrong with the email.
We got to fix the email.
Like, I don't get the emails.
So when you make a swing that looks and does what we're talking about, yeah. I can 1-star, 2-star, 3-star the video on our software.
I've seen you do it on the board there.
Yeah.
I just don't get them after. But again, I also...
Well, it's in the video lesson.
I also don't check the app.
The app doesn't have that on there.
Okay. If this is app thing, I don't check that.
Yeah, no. So I'm
the asshole that I have Anthony's cell phone number or your cell phone number, so I just text you guys and I'm like, hey, what about this?
We got no problem with that. But
yeah.
But back, so we'll when you make a good swing that does what we want, and then we'll compare it up. Like, look, this is what you're doing that we don't want. This is you doing it right. That's a 3-star swing. Right? Yeah. So I can go back and be like, okay, well, how many times in my golf career have I made a bogey then made a birdie right after? It's called bounce back. Like John Rahm's one of the best bounce back players on the PGA Tour when he was still on the PGA Tour. And falling back on being like, okay, well, I've done this before. How many times, no matter how bad at the game of golf you are, you're not often going to make 3 triple bogeys in a row. Right? You might go triple, double bogey, right? But eventually you're going to get off that train.
Yeah.
And if you can just find that moment to cut off the bad, like if you do get on that train, be like, I made triple, then I made a birdie. I don't care about the 2 triples before because those are gone, right? Being able to just kind of go back into that Rolodex and being like, I've made pars before. I've made birdies before. I can do that right now. I'm not going to if I'm thinking about all the doubles and triples I've made before. But if I go back and I think about the pars and birdies I've made before, then I might make a bogey.
That's still so hard to do because I've been there. And God, I'm so glad I don't see Randy Rivers or Michael or Miguel or any of these people popping on here right now. Because I would be getting absolutely annihilated right now with this. But we've always said, oh man, I'm just going to try and have fun today. And that is probably the biggest load of shit in the world.
Yeah.
Because you're still mad. You're still upset. You're still frustrated that you're playing like shit.
You're still frustrated that you're playing like shit, but you also have to, and I think this is the biggest thing that I try to get with most amateur golfers. Would you rather have a shitty day on the golf course or a shitty day at the office?
I mean, that's fair, and that's an easy answer. But, that doesn't really help you in the moment on a golf course when you're having a shitty day and you're with your buddies or you're on a sales call or you're out there with a client or you're just out with people that, you don't want to go out there and suck or have the worst day of your life. But what happens when you are? And how do you, really turn that around or give yourself the best opportunity to do that? Is it again? It's that 30 seconds of I'm gonna
For me,
dog cuss myself.
For me, it was
just get that out. Most people are gonna resort to give me another round. It's time for fireball.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some swing juice in here.
Yeah, and in general, I don't make, you know, I'll have a drink or two on the golf course now, but when I was playing, I didn't drink on the golf course. So like that's something that honestly I just don't have too much experience with. Oh, I'm just gonna go down a fireball. But if you can, and it's hard. Look, I played pro golf for 12 years. In my 11th year, I finally got okay at this. So just trusting, or not necessarily trusting, but just telling yourself like, hey, this shit's hard. It's hard to get over it. And what I would do when I was playing like shit, or if I hit a bad shot, the next hole, I would almost do some of the drills that I would do. Right, I would try to reaffirm some of the feels, try to take advantage of the time that I had in between shots, and be like, "Oh, why did that shot go bad? What did I do? What feel did I not reinforce?" And then try to reinforce that feel before I hit the next shot, and be like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't feel that shit at all."
It's funny you say that because I'm sitting here thinking about this. I'm thinking about our last couple of lessons. And maybe this is why golf is really hard for guys too. Because in golf, you got to talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
You got to kind of understand your feelings. You got to
understand. You have to understand. You don't have to talk about them to anybody but yourself.
You don't have to talk about them.
You got to understand
your feelings, because so much of what you and I do back and forth is like, you're like, all right, what were you feeling there? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, fuck if I know. I was just trying to remember to do the last 3 things you told me, and I was trying not to think about anything else other than these 1 or 2 things, or maybe this one thing. So I wasn't thinking about what I was feeling. And you're like, okay, hit like a few more doing the same thing and tell me what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that is really good feedback, between the visual of watching it, seeing all the monitors, seeing all the cameras, seeing the angles, and like watching that progression and stopping to see it. But how much of that comes into routine for you? Because I'm going to be honest and say I am not good about having golf swing routines. And I know it's something I need to incorporate, but like, to me, for the longest time, it's been like, why have a routine of still doing something poorly or bad? Like it, but I get the aspect of like just having that routine and being consistent.
Yeah.
But it's just like me being impatient, where a lot of times when you're a bad golfer or not a great golfer, and say you're playing on you're out with your buddies, you're playing on a Saturday, you got a morning tee time, you got guys in front of you, you got guys behind you, the course is kind of loaded up, you're feeling the pressure, not of like a crowd like playing the waste management, but it's almost kind of the same thing, just on a different magnitude. You having someone right on your heels all day long, and these guys are getting impatient and waiting on you. Whereas like putting, when you and I had our one putting lesson, you're like, I don't think we got to spend a whole lot of time here. This is the drill I would work on, and we're just going to leave this here because you're not a bad putter.
Yeah.
And I almost took his putter off of him. We'll talk about that later. But, you know, you kind of get in this, like, one of those things I do, like, if I go and take the time to walk to the other side of the hole when I'm putting and look back at my ball and see it from that angle and take a moment to just kind of take that in, and then I've walked there and walked back, and then I make my decision, my putting goes up like 90%.
Yeah.
But how many times do I just walk up to the ball, make my read, and putt the ball? That's 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Unless I'm having a really good round, and now I'm like really trying to like go at it and I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling it, then I'm definitely doing all those things. But why I can't tell myself and fuck the guys behind me and whatever else, I'm going to go look at my ball and take my time here. Like, you guys can wait all day for all I care.
Yeah.
hit into me. We can have that battle too. You know, like you don't do those things. And so many people don't have a routine, whether it's for driver, iron, wedge, putter. I mean, that's 4 routines alone.
Yeah. But it should all be the same.
Relatively?
For the most. The timing wise of it. I don't care what your routine is. Right? But it should be the same tempo. Because if one routine is quick and one routine is slow and one routine is medium, then your brain can't process that information, right? It's got to be the same. And I'm stealing this from Scott Fawcett's one of his videos. When Tiger won the 2019 Masters, he took his time to decide on the club and decide on the shot. But if you watch every single shot, all 14 under shots, whatever he shot, which would be, 274, I think he shot. All 274 of those shots that you watched him hit, by the time he pulled the club out of the bag, different with the putter because we walk around on the green.
Right.
But from the time he pulled that club out of the bag to the time he made contact with that golf ball, on average, 19 seconds. Every single shot. Because he had done all that thinking before, and then his routine is, okay, I've got the club in my hand. I'm going to hit this shot. I see it. I'm going to kind of half rehearse the shot, and I'm going to step in and I'm going to hit it. I'm not going to... What the fuck am I doing again? Oh, no. Okay. He had that all. He did all that shit before. So when he goes in to hit the golf ball, I'm basically just going, oh, yeah, I got to feel this thing. Step up. Where am I aiming again? Right there? Okay. Hit it. And that kind of thing. I don't care what kind of shot you're hitting. I don't care what club you're hitting. I don't care. We just have to have that same tempo where we're going to be in that same flow all day long.
I get you. I think that's really good advice. I think that's another thing that, like, I want to do again that I haven't done in a long time is routine and driving range time with my metronome app.
I've got 2 of them on my phone.
Putting the headphones in and having that metronome, because I made a lot of progress when I did that the first time. Yeah. And I'll give Greg Haddon, great compliment there. That was something he told me to do. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, if you would just slow down your tempo and quit trying to murder the ball, like, you have all the physical abilities to put this ball out there. Mm-hmm. You have great clubs. You have the muscle, the speed, all that stuff. Like, if you would just get a consistent tempo and be going, like, your game would improve. Like, and you know what? He was right. That was what took me from being a 115, 120 guy into the 90s. Yeah. Like, that literally was like step number 1.
I have nightmares about metronomes.
What's so... That's crazy. But, like, that's so true, though. Like, if I just put that metronome back in my head and get that part of your routine where it is timed, it's consistent, it's going. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a huge help, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I asked a few people, so we're going to, like, lighten this up a little bit now and go things. So, like, I asked for some questions that people wanted to ask you. One of the good ones I got was, as someone who's played and coached internationally, what advice would you give to aspiring golfers looking to compete on a global stage?
Global stage. Understand that the first few times, one, you have to do the travel, which is hard. It's fun. That was one of the things that kept me going. I love the travel. My mom was a flight attendant. Dad had a plane, little Cessna when I was a kid. Traveling is part of my life. So that's one thing. You have to be comfortable being on the road, being away from family, being on your own. but also understanding that grass is different everywhere in the world. You're gonna feel different feelings when that club goes through the turf. Grass is different, soil's different. It's altitude,
air
right?
pressure,
Colombia. Holy shit, the golf ball goes so far in Colombia. I had to completely reevaluate what club I was hitting in each shot. I would figure out what club. Colombia is such high elevation. The golf ball goes a mile. I was hitting hybrids 300 yards. So I have this trained in. This club goes this far. This club is going to do this when I hit it. And then I go down there and it just flies over the green. And then you got to do all that. So being aware of where you're going. You can't just fly to China and play the same type of golf you're going to play in LA.
Yeah, I think that's true because like that's what messes up a lot of people. Just like I've talked about this several times, like my Myrtle Beach trip every year. Mm-hmm. I go play in this tournament. It's flighted. This is like the most badass golf tournament in the world with amazing people. Shout out to Paul Fields and any of my Canadians listening to this. I love you guys. We have a great time. It's amazing. But versus Texas, because you're really close to the ocean and everything else, everything, no wind, no rain, is one additional club.
Yep.
Because of sea level, altitude, all those factors, density of the air.
Yeah.
If you hit your 7-iron 180 yards, you better pull out your 6-iron in Myrtle Beach to do that.
Yep.
Or you're going to be short. And no one likes being short. That sucks.
Yeah. And if you go to Utah and you're 180 yards and you hit your 100 and you pull your 7-iron, you better pull your 9-iron or else you're going to fly over that green into the desert that's surrounded by coyotes and you're not going to go get that golf ball.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's knowing some of those things. So, I mean, there's a lot of that comes in the game. Like, golf has to be the most complicated game out there. Like, you and I were joking because, like, we try to find a balance between golf analogies and baseball analogies because I grew up playing baseball. I was playing baseball at 5, you were playing golf at 5. You know, so trying to find out those analogies and where we can communicate to be like, you were like, I mean, I think that was one that hit like really hard last lesson was like, all right, you're doing this. And I was like, okay, like, I feel like I'm trying to hit like a high and inside fastball right now. Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, if I told you, you're like, what would be something completely opposite? I was like, a slider. You're like, all right, feel like you're hitting a slider. Yeah. And then it changes to like not the butt end of the golf club, the barrel of the bat. Yeah. Like, but we found a common ground there to kind of go back and forth from.
And I used that today in my lesson, my last lesson before I came up here to do this. The guy that I gave, he played college baseball at Kansas. Really good athlete, really good baseball player. I got to fight a lot of that barrel shit. I told him, I was like, hey, I want you to think about this way. I had this in my lesson yesterday. You're swinging like you're trying to hit an inside fastball. I want you to go down and get me a slider in the dirt. And he goes, okay. And he fucking smokes it. Right? So it's just that mentality where, yeah, we can use other sports.
I want to be on the payroll, Anthony. I'm just kidding.
He can have 15 minutes of practice time on me.
Extra practice time. I like it. All right. The other question that we got from a listener was, can you share a particular challenging experience you faced in your career and how you overcame it?
One in particular? There were a lot.
Whatever's most memorable or what sticks out the most.
I think, it kind of probably recency bias, but again, career on the line. I was playing first stage of Q school and I played pretty shitty the second round and kind of shot my way out of it. I get down to the back nine. I had started on the front nine, so it was my back nine, and I was playing really well. Really, really hard golf course. This golf course record, and when they have Q school here a lot, course record is 67. I mean, this is a hard-ass golf course. Most course records are 61, 62. And I'm in it. Everything that we talked about being mentally focused, I'm staying in it. I missed a 2-foot par putt. And I fell back to 2 under. And I look at the leaderboard, and I'm now 2 shots out of advancing to second stage. Second stage is the one we care about. So I'm like, I get on the 7th tee box, and there's houses on the right side. I block the fuck out of it. And I think I'm in the houses. And I give myself that 30 seconds. As I'm walking back to my bag to get a ball, I'm like, you motherfucker, you worked this hard. You're 2 under on this hard-ass golf course. You're getting back into it. And you fucking do that shit. You're such a fucking idiot. Tee it up. By the time I put that tee into the ground, all that shit was gone. And I striped it right down the middle. Best drive I hit all tournament. It ended up not mattering because my first ball was in play. But because I had given myself that pep talk, right, and let all that out, if I don't advance through this stage, I'm done playing pro golf. My career is over. I don't have the money. I had already bought a ring. I knew
the second guy flies first class, but that first guy, man, he's still grinding.
So I find my ball, par 5. I finished the last 3 holes was par 5, par 3, par 4. I find my ball on the right. Kind of a snaky par 5. I don't hit the best punch shot back into play. So I've got to hit 180-yard, 30-yard hook around the tree to get this thing on the green. In my head, I have to birdie the last 3 holes because I missed that 2-footer. Probably the best shot of my pro career. I hit this hook around. I hit it to 20 feet, straight up the hill, make the putt. I'm like, okay.
We're back in
it. And I kind of sat, we're going to the next hole, and I kind of sat there and be like, I've had this skill, this ability to hit that shot the entire time. I didn't have this mental ability until about a month ago. Before I started seeing this mental coach, I would have blasted that second ball so far in the fucking trees, in the houses, and I would have got lucky that the first ball was fine, but that ball would have been fucking gone. But because of being able to kind of recenter myself, so I make that birdie. 8th hole, 175-yard par 3, hit it to about 15 feet, leave it this far short in the heart, make par. Shit. I'm a draw player. Cuts are hard for me. I don't hit cuts super well. 9th hole, dead straight, 90-degree dogleg to the right, uphill.
Bless you.
If you hit it straight through the fairway, you're out of bounds, and I'm done. So I had to sit up there and hit the cut. My career's relying on it. Hit this perfect cut. Hit a really good but too kind of amped up adrenaline pitching wedge. Back of the green, 25 feet. Hooped it. Make it. I kind of give a little fist pump, but in my heart, I'm like, nah, I didn't make it. I'm gonna miss it by 1. Even though I overcame that. I was like, no, even if I don't make it, I'm going out fighting because I know this is my last shit. Make it. Get in the scorer's table. I make it on the number. Oh. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. I hit those shots to make it through, and I did it. And it was, unfortunately, I played like shit. I let the pressure get to me, and that's how hard golf is, right? But to this day, even when I'm playing with my buddies and I'm playing like shit, I go back and I look at that. I put myself behind the 8 ball. I almost let myself stay behind the 8 ball, but I knew I had that skill, I had that ability, and if I just trusted it, I could keep it going.
All right, based on what you just said, I'm going to change this up a little bit because I was going to go somewhere else next, but I want to dig into that a little bit because you fought adversity there. You got your mental game in check. you made shots that you don't normally make or that are really challenging for you. And like, I mean, I've golfed with you enough now to know, like, hearing you say this, I can sit back and like watch, like, yeah, man, if this is a dog leg left and he's got a shot at the green, and maybe this is a par 4 and it's a dog leg left or just a slight bend left, this little bastard's gonna like blast one and be at the front of the green or on the green, and you're gonna be like, really, dude? Like, that's what you're gonna do to me on this playing lesson? Yeah. And you're like, yeah, that's what I just did. Yeah. But if it's a slight right, like,
who the fuck knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've watched you do both. Mm-hmm. I've watched you do it and be way better than me, but like, I know it's still not good for you, but maybe in that instance, because it was to the right, it was good for you. Mm. But I've also seen you trying to do that, and then you just like absolutely blasted it down the center, which means you're still good, but it wasn't. You might not. I mean, it wasn't what you were trying to do, and I mean, like, you still have a good shot. Like, you might not have the perfect attack angle coming in now because you were to center and you didn't get anything to the right there, and because you hit the ball so much further than like me. If I'd have hit that same shot and I'd have been in the middle of the fairway, even though I didn't make the corner, now I have a straight shot in.
Yeah.
Whereas like you're probably a little further past it now, but like you can still not now. But then again, that's playing into your game almost, because now you're here and now you got to draw it around this side.
Yeah.
And put it in there. Yeah. Well, that works for you too. So I think that's a really good approach. How has this and those kind of lessons shaped how you look at certain things in life, whether it's business, communication, networking, or, you know, just relationships? Like,
yeah. I think it made me realize that, yeah, if I'm not super comfortable with this particular situation, doesn't mean I'm not going to be good at it or I'm not going to succeed at it. If I try it and pull it off, hey, I pulled it off. And it taught me, hey, you know, if I try it and I don't pull it off, then I need to get better at it. But it helps me realize that just because I don't feel comfortable doing something doesn't mean I shouldn't do it.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Just because it's challenging or hard does not mean you shouldn't try to do it.
Exactly.
I like that a lot, man. Like, that's really good. All right, we're going to do some rapid fire questions now.
All right.
Favorite golf course you've ever played?
Maridoe.
Legit, like, you said that without hesitation. Like, I'm honestly surprised. And now you're making me want to play it even fucking more.
I think it's the hardest, best, fairest golf course I've ever played in the world. Now, granted, I haven't got to play a lot of the big time. I played the new course at St. Andrews. I played Pinehurst number 2.
Oh, you started out this whole episode with, I got the itch watching Tiger Woods hit a hole-in-one on 16 at the Waste Management Tour. Mm-hmm. And then you went to talking about being 10 or 12 and smoking it through Torrey Pines.
Yep.
And just to be clear, and I'm not arguing with you or disagreeing with you. I've never played Maridoe, so it's really hard for me to judge this. But you're a guy that has played courses all over the U.S., all over Canada, all over Mexico, all over South America, Europe, and China, and you're telling me that the favorite you weren't paid to say this today, right? For the record, because he does caddy out there. No. So I just want to make this clear, because we're talking about a private golf course in Carrollton, Texas.
If they're paying me money to talk about Maridoe here, they're not paying me enough.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to be clear on this. Like, I feel like if this episode gets hot, like, I want Maridoe to give me a round out there because I want to go play it. But like, I just want to say for the record, like, you have played like amazing fucking PGA level golf courses all over the world and you just told everybody the favorite course of yours is Merido in Carrollton, Texas, which most people either know about or don't know about.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that make me like it so much. It's one of those if you know type places, right? It's Merido Golf Club. It's not a country club. It's not a golf course. It's a club for people who love golf and want to get better and are good already. It's difficult. It's fair if you do what you're supposed to do, which is hard because it's golf. And there's not a single shot or a single club you won't hit when you play out there. And that's what I love. When I played St. Andrews, great course. Love the history. I will never say a bad thing about St. Andrews.
He followed saying Merido's his favorite course with a St. Andrews comment. Like, there are guys that, like, get off to thinking about playing St. Andrews.
I loved it. It was great. But links golf is amazing. It's fun, but it is kind of boring. You don't, on a nice day. When it's shitty weather, links golf is the best golf in the world because you have to think your way around it. But at Merido, because it's a link style, and that's why I think I like it so much, it's an American link style, you have to have that mental process on every single shot.
I'm trying to think about this for myself. If I said, man, I haven't got to play near the amount of courses you have, I will have to say that my favorite course that I've ever played, and man, I'd be lying to say which course it was. I could tell you it wasn't their newest course, and there's one, if you named all three of them at the time, I could tell you that we didn't play. We played two of them 2 days in a row at Bandon Dunes. And Bandon was the coolest. It was the first time I ever had a caddy. Mm-hmm. And our caddy, Graham, God bless you if you ever listen to this podcast, but Graham was the coolest fucking caddy.
You've told me about that.
In the world. Like, I had a blast. Like, I still follow this guy on, like, Instagram and Facebook. Haven't talked to him in forever. I guess Bandon now has, like, over a 1-year wait list now. Yeah. Like, it's really crazy. We played Bandon. Me and my buddy Kevin played Bandon when we had no business playing Bandon Dunes. Like, on our best day on a Muni, we could shoot 115.
Yeah.
And we're out here with a caddy playing Bandon Dunes.
I've never been to Bandon, so maybe my answer would be different. But I've heard nothing but amazing things.
It's just different. But you played Cali golf, so I imagine that's a very similar thing, like West Coast golf.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the coast. Mm-hmm. You've got ocean to your right on some holes.
Yeah.
You've got the tall European grass, like the seagrass stuff. Yeah. That, man, you don't hit a fairway, you are fucked.
Yeah, we played we didn't get to play it often, but one of the home courses that we had when I was in college was Newport Country Club, where they play a U.S. Open qualifier, and I think the senior tour plays out there, and that's what that shit's like. So it's tree line, crazy thick, rough. It's nuts. It fucks you up.
Next one. One golfer, past or present, you would love to play around with. Who's your all-time? Like, who do you want to go play around with? And you can't say Anthony Broussard. I'm calling you a liar if you say that.
It wouldn't. I love Anthony, but it wouldn't.
We all love Anthony.
It wouldn't be Anthony. I would. I think everyone my age and probably 5 years up and 5 years down of my age loves Tiger. Would I absolutely love to play around a golf with Tiger? Yeah. But I'm from Arizona. I ended up going to school at Arizona State. For me, it's Phil Mickelson. He says he's the best shit talker. He can manufacture any kind of golf shot you can imagine. Even if I somehow, by the grace of God, play the best round of my life and beat him, he'll still probably talk better shit than I can think of. right? He's amazing, and I just want to be around the way that he thinks about the game, because I think he thinks about the game in an unreal way.
Not that this will ever happen, but you know who mine is?
Who?
And it's for completely different reasons.
John Daly?
Wrong. That would be really cool, though.
That would be really
He's
fun.
definitely in my top 5.
Yeah, me too.
John Daly would make my top 5. Tiger, I think, is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
For 90% of males between my age and your age.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be our answer. If it was our parents, it would be Jack Nicklaus, and you know, someone in that time period.
Yeah, Arnold.
Arnold Palmer, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Right? I think my legit answer, and I know this will never happen, because A, he doesn't play unless there's a large sum of money involved, from what I've been told. Mine would be Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Because A, I know we're going to smoke badass cigars. I know his caddy. You're
Good tequila.
smoking one of his caddy's cigars right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. I may have done that a little intentionally. You're welcome, Frankie.
So by happenstance, I've essentially smoked a cigar that Michael Jordan paid for in certain levels down the line.
I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe.
I'm going to say that.
Do you know Frankie Casso?
But I'm going to tell people that. I'm going to tell people Jordan
Frankie's
bought me
a super cool dude. I hope he comes back up here to ICC sometime soon. Fuck you, Jaime. Don't get him in here on this shit right now. See, Jaime's already in here trying to get Redney Rivers on this. I know where this is going. I knew it wouldn't take long. I knew at some point they'd start chiming in. But yeah, Michael Jordan would be mine.
Yeah.
And because to play around a golf with a guy that is the GOAT in basketball, played professional baseball as well, and really, if he'd have focused on that, God knows what he would have done there.
Yeah.
And then he's a stick-ass golfer that also loves cigars and good cocktails and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in. Like, I think for bang for your buck, that would be my number one choice. I think
It's a great
Tiger
choice.
would be number 2 for me.
Yeah.
And then I would say probably 3 would be like a John Rahm or Bryson.
It's another devil, though. John Rahm, another Sun Devil.
I'm cool with that, man.
We're pretty
Like,
awesome.
Dude, you don't have to twist my arm. I fucking love Arizona.
Yeah.
When we had an office out there, man, like any chance I got to go out there, I'm going. Like Arizona is awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot like Texas. If it's hot as fuck out, you're just not doing a lot of shit outside.
Yeah.
Like time of your day. It's just like anywhere else. If it's really cold and you live in Alaska, you're not doing a bunch of shit outside when it's really cold.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you still have to live life, but you're prepared. It's like
Exactly.
living in the East Coast up north. Like when I lived in Connecticut, like you layer up,
Yep.
you know, like you know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
So like, I think that changes the game a lot.
Yeah.
All right. This is a fun one, and I can't wait to see how you answer this.
All right.
Because I've taken a lot of things out of your fucking golf bag. Well, I wouldn't say I've taken. You've lent me
Yes.
several things, which I still need to get you those sticks, by the way. I need to find those.
Yeah.
So, what is the most indispensable item in your golf bag?
Indispensable.
Don't say your putter, because I know you're lying if you say that.
I don't use that putter anymore. I'm not sweeping at the moment. I got a normal putter.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sweeping next time y'all see me, because I'm going to steal this bitch while he's
It's
mad at
sitting
it.
on the rack
While he's
at
mad
work.
at it, I'm stealing this.
It's kind of not golf related, but it's something that's been in every single one of my bags since I was in high school. My brother,
Idol.
Midol, yeah, I'm a big fan of Midol. Cramping up right now. My brother went to Hawaii with my grandpa, who was a World War II vet. He didn't serve in the Pacific, but they went together.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
And he brought me back this little bubblegum shrimp company smiley face pen that says stupid is as stupid does. And I used that before I started to develop my 30-second shit. I would look at that if I had a bad, and it would just make me laugh. I thought it was funny because obviously I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I hit that bad shot. That button has been on every single one of my golf bags inside now because I have a nice leather bag and I don't want to poke it. But every single bag I've ever had since high school, that pin's been on there. And it'll be in every single bag that I have until it breaks or I stop playing golf.
Fair enough. That's cool. That's a good one. All right. Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations within the golf industry, both as a coach and maybe the playing days are just going to be fun now and you're not going to like continue down that road, but like what are your, where do you want to go with that?
I want to help all people get better, but I would really like to get a good, stable collection of junior golfers who want to play at the next level, but don't necessarily have the backing of, you know, a lot of my friends had when I was growing up to play every single tournament. I didn't get to play a lot of tournaments that I wanted, so I want to be able to take those kids that are really, really good at golf that might not have the resources that I need to get to the next level, and at the very least give them the knowledge that I developed in 12 years of pro golf that took me 12 years to get. And if I can give that to a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid and get him a little bit better, and if he doesn't want to play pro golf, but he wants to play college golf and I can get him into a college scholarship, that's would make everything happy for me. Because I feel like I've learned enough where I can transfer it to those kids and get them better. For me, playing fun with my buddies, would I ever want to kind of give it another go? Yeah, I'd love to. Obviously, that's been my dream since I saw Tiger Woods hit that hole-in-one when I was 8 years old. Whether that means trying to make PGA Tour or waiting 15 years and maybe doing the senior tour, who knows? But I'll never stop trying to play the best golf that I can possibly play myself.
All right, before I give you the two final questions, I have one more that I want to get in here. I should have done this earlier, but regardless, given your extensive experience in caddying, what are some common misconceptions golfers have about the role of a caddy, and how can understanding this dynamic improve a player's game?
The first misconception is I'm not your bitch. I think a lot of times I am there to assist you and make your round better, but I'm not. If we have a good rapport and I've gone out with you about, I'll do anything for you. You ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. But I'm a person, right? I'm not a push cart with feet, right? I think, and we don't have that at Merido, but I've talked to some people and seen from the player side people treating caddies not great. Everyone I've been with at Merido is awesome, but you can kind of see the guests sometimes come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have a caddy. I can I can do whatever I want.
I can abuse this guy."
Yeah. So that's that. And like the biggest thing that I do say, even when they're the nicest guy in the world, if a caddy tells you to do something, to aim somewhere about the golf course, listen to him. He knows the golf course a lot better than you do.
So, man, sorry, I got to go a little deeper on this now. I wasn't planning on doing this, but is there something from that experience? Because I know not everybody gets the experience. Like, it was much later in life when I was entertaining a client and that I had my first caddy in golf. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about that experience and what all that caddy added to that round, how they helped, what they did. Is there something you think is of value, especially in a young... I'm thinking more for the younger person, but I mean, this could also apply to somebody that's never played a golf course where you are required to have a caddy. And I mean, again, sometimes it's going to be luck of the draw. I mean, you could have a great caddy, you could have a good caddy, you could have a bad caddy. Mm-hmm. But with that in mind, considering most places that require you to have a caddy are going to be pretty top notch.
Yeah.
And they're not just hiring anybody off the street.
Correct.
To caddy you. Like, if you're caddying at one of these places that requires you to have a caddy, I'm willing to bet you're a former PGA player, a golf pro, or you at least competed at the college level in golf, and are probably... I mean, I've never ran into a situation where a caddy had a... I don't know, higher than like, I'm just going to say a 10 handicap.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I wouldn't say
most caddies are fucking sticks. And like, they know the course. All these things you've been talking about. But like, do you think there is a distinct advantage or lessons you could learn, even if you don't play that course regularly, but like, you would get from a caddy experience of like just playing around and having a caddy for those people that have never done it?
Yeah.
Young or mid-age.
Yeah. 100%, because one, you have a conversation with somebody else about the shot that you're about to hit, as opposed to you just being like, oh, I look at the thing on the cart, it says I'm 150 yards, I'm going to go grab this, I'm just going to fucking hit it. You get to have that conversation about what am I supposed to do, how do I play this shot, where am I supposed to aim, and again, it just helps you get into that routine a little bit where you think about the shot as opposed to just, oh, I'm just going to fucking swing and hit it and hope I hit it as hard as I can.
Is there something you would advise people that have never done that and were getting a caddy for the first time? How could someone make the most of that experience of, let's just say that like my random friend that's golfing happens to know somebody that can get him around at Merido and they show up, like, what is going to give him or her that best experience and to really gain the most from that experience with a caddy in a day? How would you approach that as a golfer? Like, what advice would you give them for that?
I say talk to the caddy about like the history of the club, because the caddies know everything about everything on the club. Why was this hole designed this way? What did this famous member do when he was here? Jordan Spieth made a 7 on the 5th hole at Merido the first time he played it, spun it in the water 3 times. So like, if I have a guy that does the same thing, I'll kind of quirk to him, like, hey, Jordan Spieth did the same thing. It's a hard, right? So that caddy has stories about the club, about how it was built, about the tournaments that are coming up there, and just kind of talk to him about the history of golf at that particular location. Like, Merido's history isn't super long, but if you're playing St. Andrews, that caddy has 20 years of knowledge about a 300-year, 500-year-old golf course that he can share to you that you never would have thought to ask about, where if you just talk to him, the conversation is going to go in a certain way where something cool is going to come up.
That's cool, man. Well, dude, first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming and joining us today and putting yourself out here like this.
Yeah, this was cool. I've never done anything like this
I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, it was super fun.
So we asked everybody 2 questions at the end.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of tweak this a little bit just because I know you better. And you don't have kids yet that we know of.
Yeah, that I know of.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Well, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Please, fiance, do not hate me or like come attack me. I know you're like cartel chick.
She's not
kidding.
cartel.
I'm
She's
kidding.
from
I'm kidding.
that region.
I'm kidding. Anyways, if you had one piece of advice you could give a young golfer or just a golfer, what if you could give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
I think this is true for me and everybody. For the most part, you're not as good as you think you are, and have fun, because golf's hard as shit. And if you think you're Tiger, you're not. And that goes true for a lot of tour players too.
Yeah.
Play to your ability and just have fun. Golf's a game. It's a drinking game.
This is all true, man. Last question. This is the fun one, and I don't know where you want to go with this. I'm kind of excited to see where you go with this.
Okay.
So the show's called Common Sense, right? The kind of basis common sense, learning lessons, time collapsing, you know, like if someone wants to go be a PGA Tour player, they want to be better at golf, like what little things nuggets can they take from this episode that maybe they don't have to make the same mistakes you or I made?
Yeah.
I think we made a lot of those really clear. And like, if you don't know golf and you want to know golf, hey, buy cheap ass clubs and go buy expensive lessons. And then when you get good, you can buy badass clubs and then you can really dominate. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
If you never played golf or you don't have much, and go let somebody really show you what you could do to do your natural swing really well without a bunch of badass habits. The hardest thing I think these guys have is fixing something that you have created as muscle memory. I mean, this is what I'm personally battling right now. My left arm folds going up and needs to be straight because I've figured out the timing of how to make myself decent doing the bullshit things. And now us fixing that, we're now, well, let's just call it 22 or 23 lessons in with just me and you.
Yeah.
And we're back here going, all right, this is, until we fix this, we're not doing jack shit else.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be another 20 lessons. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
But this is the segment we like to call Your 2 Cents.
Yeah.
So if there's something I asked you that I didn't go deep enough on that you really feel like you want to go further on, or if there's something I didn't bring up, just kind of like whatever's on you. Like, it's just your 2 cents. You can say whatever the fuck you want right now. It's Nick Scheib's 2 cents.
I think when you're trying to get better at golf at any level, and it's cliche-ish, but it's a process. Just like when we went back and I talked about how a month or two ago, I was considering going back and playing pro golf again because my swing looked so good. And then 2 days later, couldn't hit the fucking golf ball. It's a process. There's ebbs and flows. 1% better every day is the most cliche shit in the world. But it's particularly with golf, it's true because there's so many different parts of golf that you can get 1% better at, right? Today, I've been hitting my driver like absolute ass. Shane, one of the other coaches, Shane's a better coach than me at coaching drivers. I bring Coach Shane in all the time when I need help with drivers. Shane brings me in all the time when he needs help with certain things in the irons. We collaborate there.
He didn't say short game.
Short game is currently one of these right now. But when I first... today I was hitting balls. We had a little bit of a break. We were testing the new drivers that just came out, and I just couldn't get my swing speed where it was when I was playing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was swinging my driver 112 miles an hour, which is fast for normal people.
Really fast.
But it's slow as shit for me. I bring Shane in, and he's like, try this, try that. My last driver swing that I did today was 120 miles an hour. Picked up 8 miles an hour swing speed in 30 minutes. That's a lot more than 1%, right? But if I go back tomorrow and I start hitting golf balls and I start at 115 as opposed to where I started at 112 today, then I know I got better. And just being able to have small benchmarks is the most important thing, I think, getting better in anything.
That was the perfect way to end this. And I agree with you 1,000%. And what I want the listeners to take from this of what you just said is you just heard a former PGA Pro golfer, golf coach, and caddy tell you, I went into the bay and was doing work. And the work said, I have become 1% better. And I am nuking the fucking ball. Mm-hmm. I am the tits right now.
Yeah.
Like, I am just on my game. Like, so much so that, like, I'm thinking about, like, going back out and, like, really giving this another go.
Yeah.
And the very next day, you got humbled by this great sport we call golf again.
Yeah.
And you couldn't hit a fucking golf ball, and you were questioning why you even play golf.
Yeah.
Even the top guys, this happens to them.
100%.
And it kind of goes back to what we talked to earlier in this episode of even when you fix it, it still takes repetition at that level doing that to sustain it.
Yep.
Otherwise,
you lost it.
He just said he hit lights out for 45 minutes in the bay. I'm gonna go out to the Corn Ferry Tour again. I'm gonna go get my card again. And then went out and played with God knows who. Well, we'll just say Anthony because it makes it fun. You went out with Anthony and those guys at Merido, and you played, and you couldn't hit the face of a golf ball, and you hated life. Those guys razzed you all day.
Yep.
You had a horrible golf day.
Yep.
And you went home and told your fiance, I don't think I want to play golf anymore.
Yep.
And then the next day you went back in and got on the simulator, and you're like, well, I'm still swinging 3 miles an hour faster. I'm here. I did make small improvement. It just hasn't sunk in. I don't have the muscle memory. I don't have the time in yet to make this really stick.
Yep.
But you're going to keep grinding at that because like, that's the path to get there. It's more repetition because when you get tired or you come out feeling really good and shit doesn't go the way you think it would, then you have one of those days.
Yep.
And every golfer has that day. But probably hole 18, he probably birdied, and then he would go, oh, well, this is why I play the game. And you're back again next time because you got that one hole.
Exactly.
But that's the beauty of this game. And it's a tough-ass game.
Yes, it is.
So you need to be humble. You need to be able to, like, accept the fact that there are going to be the bad days. There's going to be the in-between days. There's going to be the good days.
Yep.
And you have to mentally prepare you. I think golf is a lot like jiu-jitsu.
I don't know much about jiu-jitsu.
I don't know a lot either, but, like, I feel like it's one of those mental training things.
Yeah.
So, like, if you do those things and you have the discipline and the grind and you keep doing these things, then, like, you're going to get better. Not just that, but it applies to other aspects of your life where, like, if you can have the discipline to do this, then shit, why not do it at this area of your life or that area?
Yep.
It all like
agree with that.
works in conjunction together.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, anyways, we're a little bit over. We started late, but want to thank you again, man,
Thanks
for
for
coming out. Like, it was a great time, man.
awesome.
I hope
fun,
you
man.
enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was super fun.
Like, it was fun. If you guys have questions, please drop them in. I'm glad to connect you guys with Nick or Pure Swing Golf. Hit me up. I'm happy to direct you guys over there. We will not have a show next week because it falls on my birthday. And I'm doing birthday shit. So
We wait till the weekend.
unless Biz wants to, like, move some shit around or, we can find another day next week, like, maybe we'll do something. If not, we'll be back the first week of February. I have some more exciting guests for you guys lined up. We have a lot of multifamily people lined up, so you guys stay tuned. I'm bringing in, let's see, just real quick before we get off here, I'll go ahead and tell y'all, like, as soon as my calendar will pull up, I'll tell y'all real quick. Like, I think you guys are gonna be thoroughly happy with some of the ones we have upcoming. So just a few. I'm not gonna tell you when, because a few of these I'm locking in. I have my good friend Anthony Young, who is the chairperson in the Independent Rental Owners Committee that I'm a part of with AAGD. Anthony will be coming to join us on the 6th. I will throw that one out there. And then we have some other exciting guests. You guys here in the North Dallas area probably have been to one of the Kenny's restaurants. I'm guessing. I mean, whether it's Kenny's Burgers, Kenny's Italian, Kenny's Grill House, like, there's a lot of different things. Or Kenny's Pizza. I mean, you name it. Kenny's a fucking legend. He's got a big art show coming up on, I'm going to be shooting from the hip here, February 1st at Kenny's Italian in Addison. He's doing a big art show. All proceeds donated to St. Jude's, I believe. I could be wrong, but like one of the children's hospitals that don't charge families for kids with cancer and stuff like that. So Kenny will be doing that. You guys, if you want to go out there to Kenny's Italian in Addison, I'll be out there at some point during that day supporting that event. And Kenny's going to come hang out with us in February. If y'all don't know Kenny, like, you got to get to know Kenny. Like, this dude's awesome. I call him the Chris Sabo at my gym for any of you baseball nuts from back in the day. Kenny's awesome dude. He's an artist. He's a philanthropist. He's a chef. He's amazing entrepreneur. Like, you guys got to get to know him a little bit. But we got some good ones coming out, and we're going to have some other guys from multifamily. Like, you guys asked for the multifamily stuff, and I'm pushing it hard this year. So hope you guys will join us again February 6th, unless you see a pop-up that Biz and I don't know, Biz and I haven't chopped it up in a while. Maybe we'll just post up somewhere next week and do a live or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Peace.